Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're tackling Swami Vivekananda today.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing. Exploring some excerpts from the complete book of yoga.
Oh yeah, that's a great collection.
It's packed with practical philosophy.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
the kind you can actually use in your everyday life.
For sure, for sure.
So one of the things that really struck me
Okay.
was Vivekananda's take on misfortune.
Uh-huh.
He straight up said that people
Yeah.
often learn more from hardship
Yeah.
than from comfort.
It's so true.
Right.
Like when things are easy,
Yeah.
we don't really grow as much.
We just coast.
Right, exactly.
But when we face setbacks,
Mm-hmm.
we have to dig deep.
You got to be resilient.
Yeah.
Got to figure things out.
And that's where the real growth happens.
Exactly.
It's like that saying,
That is it.
smooth seas don't make skillful sailors.
Oh yeah, I love that one.
Right.
It's so true.
When I think back on my own life, some of the hardest times
Yeah.
have been the most valuable lessons.
Absolutely.
What about you?
Oh, for sure.
Have you noticed that in your own life?
Big time. Yeah, those tough times, they really shape who you become.
They force you to evolve.
Yeah, you come out stronger.
You learn so much.
You got it.
Now, Vivekananda takes this idea
Okay.
a step further
Yeah, okay.
and says, knowledge isn't something external.
I see.
It's not something we just acquire.
Mm-hmm.
It's something inherent.
He's talking about that inner wisdom.
Yeah.
It's already there within us.
He uses that classic example of Newton and the apple.
Oh, yeah. The apple.
To illustrate this point.
Such a good example.
So tell me more about that.
Well, think about it. That apple falling,
Yeah,
that was just the trigger.
Okay.
The external event.
I see.
The real discovery.
Yeah.
The aha moment of understanding gravity
Yeah.
that happened inside Newton's mind.
He was already there.
It's like the apple just sparked something
Yeah.
that was already present, right?
Vivekananda suggests our minds are like these huge libraries.
Wow.
And learning is just uncovering
Oh, that's a cool way to think about it.
the knowledge that's already there.
Instead of cramming our minds with information,
Right.
we should be peeling back the layers.
Yeah, uncovering that inner wisdom.
Discovering the wisdom we already possess.
It's
That's pretty powerful.
it is, right?
It really makes you think.
So it raises the question then.
Yeah, what's the question?
What's blocking us from accessing that wisdom?
Hmm.
What are those veils?
Like those mental obstacles?
Yeah. Limiting beliefs,
Fears.
fears, old patterns.
The things that hold us back
Exactly.
from reaching our full potential.
What's waiting to be uncovered within you?
Whoa. That is deep.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
It's a journey of self-discovery.
And it makes you wonder
Right.
about what we're all capable of.
If we could just clear away those obstacles.
Exactly.
And Vivekananda offers guidance on that journey.
He was a big advocate
For what?
for forging your own path.
I love that.
Yeah, not blindly following the crowd.
Not trying to be someone else.
Right, or live up to someone else's expectation.
Yeah, be yourself.
He actually said, and I love this quote,
Okay.
every man should take up his own ideal
Okay.
and endeavor to accomplish it.
Mm-hmm.
That is a sure way of progress than taking up other men's ideals,
Right.
which he can never hope to accomplish.
So powerful.
It's about recognizing your own strengths
Yeah.
and creating a path
Not
that's authentically yours,
a copycat.
not a carbon copy of someone else's life.
Yeah.
He has this great analogy to illustrate this.
Okay, I like analogies.
Imagine giving a small child the task of walking 20 miles.
Oh, wow.
That child's going to collapse
Yeah, that's too much.
from exhaustion or just give up completely,
They're not ready.
right?
They're not equipped.
It's the same when we try to force ourselves,
Onto the wrong path.
onto paths that aren't meant for us.
We're setting ourselves up for failure.
For sure, for frustration and disappointment.
Right.
Instead, we need to set realistic goals
Yeah.
that are aligned with our individual capacity
Okay.
and find a path that feels true to who we are.
Makes sense.
Right.
But what about people
Mm.
who aren't looking to become wandering monks?
Yeah. Good question.
What about those of us
Hmm.
living and working in the world?
Right.
Does Vivekananda have any wisdom for us?
Absolutely.
Okay,
He doesn't dismiss worldly life at all.
that's good to know.
In fact, he offers specific guidance
Oh, really?
for householders,
Okay.
people who are living and working in the world,
Yeah, like most of us.
on how to integrate
Okay.
spiritual principle.
Into their daily lives.
It's about finding that balance between achieving material success
Yeah.
and pursuing spiritual growth.
That's the key, right?
And he even outlines specific duties.
Oh, really? Like what kind of dude?
Things like never joking or showing anger in front of your parents,
Interesting.
making sure your family and those less fortunate are cared for
Okay.
before indulging yourself.
So it's like a code of conduct.
Yeah, almost like guidelines for living a balanced life.
I like it.
He advises against putting on a show of weakness or bragging about your wealth.
Humility.
Exactly.
Right.
Instead, he encourages people to strive for knowledge and wealth as a means to support those who depend on them.
I see.
It's all about that balance between material success and spiritual growth.
It seems like he really understood
They did.
the importance of householders.
Yeah.
The people who keep society functioning.
Right.
He wants them to feel empowered.
For sure.
Not like they're doing something lesser
Exactly.
than those who choose a monastic life.
He's emphasizing the concept of dharma.
Dharma.
Yeah, which can be understood as duty
Okay.
or right action.
Right action.
It's about fulfilling our responsibilities in a way that uplifts ourselves and others,
So it benefits everyone.
contributes to the well-being of the whole.
That's a beautiful concept.
It is.
You know, that reminds me of the story in the text
Which one?
about the little bird
Oh, yeah.
who sacrifices himself.
Who provide warmth and sustenance for guests.
Right.
Such a powerful illustration of selfless service.
And hospitality.
It's a beautiful parable,
It really is.
highlighting that even small acts of kindness
Can have a ripple effect.
can make a real difference.
It makes you think.
Yeah.
What small acts of kindness can
Right.
we offer to make a positive impact on the lives of others?
What does that look like in your world?
That's a great question.
It's something for all of us to reflect on.
We've talked about hardship,
Yeah.
uncovering knowledge, forging our own paths.
Finding balance as householders.
There's so much richness in these teachings.
Oh, there's so much more.
I can't wait to dive deeper.
Let's do it.
What else can we glean from Vivekananda's wisdom?
Well, his perspective on karma and samskaras is really interesting.
Okay, karma, I've heard of that. But samskaras.
Yeah, samskaras are like these energetic footprints.
Footprints.
Yeah, think of it this way. Every action,
Okay.
every thought, even every feeling
Wow.
leaves an impression on our minds.
So, like, our actions have consequences.
Yes, but it's more than that.
Oh,
It's like these imprints
Oh,
that shape who we are.
interesting.
He describes them as ripples on a leak.
I like that.
Even after the ripple subsides,
Yeah.
it leaves a subtle mark on the surface,
I see.
creating a tendency
Okay.
for similar waves to rise again.
So our past actions influence our future behavior.
In a way, yes, but it's not about being a puppet of fate.
Okay, so we have a choice.
Exactly. We're not helpless victims of our past.
That's empowering.
right. We're active participants.
In shaping our own destinies.
The choices we make today
Mm-hmm.
create the samskaras.
That will shape our tomorrow. We're not just at the mercy of our past.
It's about recognizing that we have the power
Yeah.
to choose the kind of imprints
Okay.
we want to leave on our minds.
I like that.
And consequently, the direction of our lives.
It's like we're writing our own story.
In a way. Yes.
This connects beautifully
How so?
with one of Vivekananda's central messages from the Bhagavad Gita.
Oh, yeah.
Work incessantly, but be not attached to the results.
Work like a master, not a slave.
I love that.
Approach your work with love
Okay.
and a sense of freedom.
Not out of obligation.
Right.
Right.
Not from a place of compulsion or fear of failure.
He makes a distinction
Yes.
between selfish work,
Which is like being enslaved by our desires and anxieties,
selfless work.
which is true mastery.
He tells this fascinating story
Oh, I love his stories.
about a man who obtains a ghost
A ghost.
to do all his work for him.
Wow, that's handy.
Sounds like a dream come true.
At first, yeah.
But then what happens?
Well, the ghost is unbelievably efficient,
Yeah, it gets everything done.
instantly completing every task.
So the man has to keep inventing new tasks
Right.
just to keep the ghost busy.
He becomes a slave to the ghost's efficiency,
Wow.
constantly needing to find things for it to do.
It's like the ghost represents our never-ending to-do list
Yeah. Or our constant striving
that need to keep busy.
often comes from our attachment to outcomes.
The fear of not having enough,
Right.
of not being
guess-
enough.
That story really makes you think.
It does. What if we focused on doing our best,
Yeah.
on savoring each step of the journey and let
Which
go of the
is-
need to control everything?
It's about shifting our perspective.
Maybe that's the key
I think so.
to feeling more like a master
Yeah.
and less like a slave to our work.
It's about finding that sweet spot.
Where effort meets ease.
Yes.
Where action flows from a place of joy and purpose.
Beautifully said.
And that leads us to Vivekananda's thoughts on true happiness,
Okay.
which he links to self-abnegation.
Letting go of selfishness.
Right.
He suggests that every act of kindness chips away at our self-importance.
And leads us closer to peace.
It's about recognizing our interconnectedness.
Yeah.
And acting in a way that benefits the whole.
Not just ourselves.
Right.
I love how this concept weaves together Jnana Bhakti and Karma Yoga.
It's a holistic approach.
To living a fulfilling life.
A life rooted in wisdom.
Devotion.
And selfless service.
So instead of constantly asking.
Well, been it for me.
Yeah, we start asking.
How can I be of service?
That's a powerful shift.
It is.
What would it look like to bring that kind of selflessness
into our daily interactions?
Exactly.
It's about looking for those small opportunities to make a difference.
To brighten someone's day.
To offer a helping hand.
It's amazing how much power we have.
I know, it's incredible.
To create positive change.
Even in small ways.
Now, Vivekananda also emphasized the profound impact of words.
Our words are powerful.
On ourselves and on others.
He even talks about the concept of sphota.
Sphota? What's that?
It's the primordial sound.
Okay.
That represents the creative power of the universe.
Wow.
Symbolized by Om.
Om, that universal sound.
Yeah, the one we hear in meditation.
It makes you realize how much power our words have.
It's not just about the sound.
Right.
It's the intention behind them.
Have you ever noticed?
Oh yeah, all the time.
How a kind word
can completely shift someone's mood.
Or a harsh comment can stick with you for days.
Absolutely. Words have a lasting impact.
Vivekananda gives some vivid examples.
He does.
Of how words can be used for both good and bad.
Like a word spoken in anger.
Leading to violence.
Or words of comfort, soothing a grieving soul.
Powerful stuff.
It's a reminder to be mindful.
Of the words we choose.
To use them consciously.
Yeah.
To create harmony and understanding.
And speaking of profound influence.
Okay.
Vivekananda acknowledge the vital role
of a true guru.
Right.
In guiding us on our spiritual journeys.
A true guru.
He's very clear about what that means.
Okay, how so?
A genuine guru.
Doesn't rely on obscure rituals.
Right.
Or complicated interpretations of ancient texts.
He tells this great story.
Another story.
About a young sannyasin.
A sannyasin.
Someone who has renounced worldly life.
Okay.
Who receives profound wisdom.
From who?
From a humble butcher.
A butcher.
It's a powerful reminder
that true teachers
can be found in unexpected places.
That's for sure.
It makes you think about who your own gurus are.
Yeah.
The people who have imparted wisdom.
The ones who have helped us evolve.
It could be mentors, authors, historical figures.
Anyone who has illuminated the path for us.
Exactly.
That brings us to one of Vivekananda's most thought-provoking ideas.
Which one?
Worshipping God and man. He argued that for most people, the only way to truly connect with the divine
is to see it reflected in other human beings.
Not limiting God to human form,
right,
but recognizing the divine spark.
Within every individual.
He understood that we often project our own limitations
onto our concept of the divine.
He even said this.
What did he say?
Talk as you may try, as you may. You cannot think of God except as a man.
It's a bold statement.
It really challenges us.
Yeah.
To examine our own perceptions of the divine.
It encourages us to cultivate a sense of reverence.
For the divine in everyone we encounter.
To see beyond the superficial differences.
And recognize the underlying unity.
That connects us all.
We've covered so much ground already. Facing hardship.
Uncovering knowledge.
Forging our own paths.
The duties of householders.
Selfless service.
Karma and samskaras.
Work as a master.
True happiness.
The power of words.
The role of a guru.
And worshiping God in man.
It's been quite a journey.
What a deep dive.
And we're just getting started. And we haven't even gotten to Raja Yoga yet.
Oh yeah, Raja Yoga.
Vivekananda's approach to understanding the mind.
It's like a system for mastering the mind, right?
Exactly. He calls it a scientific approach.
I like that scientific.
Breaks it down into 8 limbs.
8 limbs of Raja Yoga.
And he emphasizes that ethical conduct is the foundation.
So it's not just about the poses and the meditation.
No, it's about how we live our lives.
Yama and niyama.
Exactly. Those are the first two limbs.
The ethical guidelines.
They form the foundation for the deeper practices.
Like building a house, you need a strong foundation.
Exactly. You can't build a solid structure on shaky ground.
So those deeper practices like pratyahara,
Withdrawal of the senses,
and dharana concentration.
they build upon that ethical base.
So we have to get our thoughts and actions aligned first.
It's all
Yeah.
connected.
Makes sense.
Vivekananda has this great analogy for the untamed mind.
Oh, I love his analogies.
He compares it to a maddened monkey,
A monkey.
constantly jumping from one thought to another.
Oh yeah, my mind does that all the time.
We all experience that mental chatter.
It's like my mind's doing parkour, leaping from one distraction to the next.
That's a great way to put it.
So how do we tame this wild monkey mind?
That's where Raja Yoga comes in.
Okay, tell me more.
It offers a toolkit of techniques to calm and focus the mind.
Like what kind of techniques?
Have you explored meditation or mindfulness?
I've tried some meditation.
What about breath work?
I've done a little bit of that too.
Those are all great examples of Raja Yoga techniques.
I find that even a few minutes of focused breathing helps.
It can make a huge difference.
It's like hitting the pause button on the mental chatter.
Exactly, creating space for stillness.
Yeah, Vivekananda was a big believer in the power of concentration.
He said, the more concentrated the mind, the greater the force brought to bear on a single point.
It's like focusing a beam of light.
The tighter the beam, the more intense the heat.
What could we achieve if we could harness that power?
It's an invitation to tap into our potential.
To become more than we thought possible.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about Raja Yoga.
What about prana?
Prana, the vital life force.
Yes, the energy that animates everything.
And pranayama is the practice of controlling prana.
Right, consciously directing that life force.
Vivekananda points out that there are many ways to work with prana.
And he even connects it to practices in other cultures.
Really? Like what?
He mentions mind healers, faith healers, spiritualists.
Wow, I never thought of those practices in terms of prana.
It's all about understanding this fundamental life force.
That connects us all.
Exactly.
This is why I love these deep dives, so many unexpected connections.
It's all interconnected.
So we've explored Raja Yoga, pranayama.
What about spirituality and science?
Vivekananda didn't see them as conflicting.
He saw Raja Yoga as a scientific approach.
To exploring the inner world.
Exactly. It's about direct experience.
Not blind faith or dogma.
He was adamant about not getting bogged down in rituals or rigid interpretations.
He wanted us to find our own truth.
He said, anything that is secret and mysterious in these systems of yoga should be at once rejected. The best guide in life is strength. In religion, as in all other matters, discard everything that weakens you, have nothing to do with it.
A spirituality that empowers us.
Yes, to face our challenges with courage and clarity.
He believed in the potential for greatness within each of us.
He said, the whole universe is but one.
Wow, that's powerful. What does that mean to you?
It evokes a sense of awe and humility.
Knowing that we're all part of something larger.
It makes me want to live a life that honors that connection.
Beautifully said. It reminds me of his teaching about seeing the divine in everyone.
We talked about that earlier, worshiping God in man.
Recognizing the divine spark in each person.
He didn't like limiting God to a specific image.
It boxes in the divine right.
He said, talk as you may, try as you may, you cannot think of God except as a man.
It challenges us to expand our understanding.
Of what God is.
To see beyond our limited human perceptions.
When we see God as separate,
we create duality and division.
Which leads to conflict and suffering.
Vivekananda's message is one of radical unity.
It's about recognizing our interconnectedness.
That reminds me of another concept he explores, Maya.
Ah, Maya, the illusion of separateness.
The veil that prevents us from seeing the truth.
It's so easy to get caught up in Maya.
To get lost in the drama and distractions of the world.
We start to believe our problems are unique.
That we're alone in our struggles.
But Vivekananda reminds us it's an illusion.
A trick of the mind.
And we have the power to see through it.
Through spiritual practice, self-awareness, right action.
We can pierce the veil of Maya.
And experience the truth of our interconnectedness.
It's empowering.
We're not just victims of circumstance.
We're active creators of our reality.
We have the power to choose how we perceive the world.
And how we respond to its challenges.
This connects to his idea of balance.
Between the inner and outer aspects of life.
Not renouncing the world, but finding a way to engage.
While remaining detached from its illusions.
Finding that sweet spot.
Where we can enjoy life without getting lost in the drama.
Vivekananda believed we can find fulfillment.
In both the material and spiritual realms.
As long as we maintain balance and purpose.
He also talked about working incessantly.
But working in a way that's aligned with our dharma.
With our unique purpose and talents.
Working like masters, not slaves.
With passion and freedom.
Not driven by fear or compulsion.
And he reminds us that true happiness
doesn't come from chasing pleasures or possessions.
It comes from serving something greater than ourselves.
Making a positive contribution to the world.
Using our gifts to uplift ourselves and others.
Vivekananda also had some interesting views on the evolution of religion.
He was ahead of his time.
He saw all religions as different paths.
Leading to the same goal.
The realization of our true nature.
He believed religion evolves over time.
Moving from external forms and rituals.
To a more internalized understanding.
So it's not about blind adherence.
It's about cultivating a direct experience of truth.
An inner knowing that transcends external forms.
He emphasized that true spirituality is about transformation.
Transforming ourselves and the world around us.
He saw no conflict between science and religion.
Both are trying to understand reality.
He even suggested that the ancient rishis,
the seers of the Vedas,
were essentially scientists
with a higher level of consciousness.
Allowing them to perceive truths beyond our ordinary senses.
That's mind-blowing.
It makes you wonder about the potential of human consciousness.
The possibilities for spiritual growth.
It's an invitation to explore.
To expand our understanding of what's possible.
To discover the hidden dimensions of reality.
What an exploration.
It's amazing how much wisdom is packed into these teachings.
And it's like he's challenging us.
Right.
To really think deeply about who we are.
To question our assumptions about reality.
To step outside of our comfort zones.
And to realize our true potential.
Speaking of pushing boundaries.
Okay.
Vivekananda had some interesting things to say about the ego.
The ego.
That sense of me and mine.
Yeah, the one we cling to so tightly.
He saw it as kind of a troublemaker.
On the spiritual path, for sure.
Like, it creates this illusion of separation.
Exactly.
This feeling that we're cut off.
From the divine and from each other.
So it's like the ego is building walls around us.
Preventing us from experiencing our true nature.
Which is interconnectedness.
Right, that sense of unity.
And those walls lead to all sorts of problems.
Fear, craving a sense of lack.
A constant feeling of dissatisfaction.
Exactly.
So how do we break down those walls?
Vivekananda believed in practices like meditation.
Okay.
Self-inquiry and selfless service.
To dismantle those ego-built walls.
And experience the unity that lies beneath.
It's about recognizing that we're not these isolated entities.
We're part of something much larger.
And more interconnected.
He puts it so beautifully when he says...
What does he say?
The whole gist of this teaching is that you should work like a master and not as a slave. Work incessantly, but do not do slave's work.
Work like a master, not a slave.
It's about acting from a place of freedom and love.
Not obligation or fear. So what's the difference between slave's work
and working as a master?
It seems like a subtle but important distinction.
I think slave's work is driven by the ego.
Okay.
By the need to prove ourselves.
To control outcomes.
To seek validation, that constant striving.
It comes from a place of fear and scarcity, whereas working as a master
implies a sense of freedom.
A joy in the process itself.
A detachment from the need to control.
Like we're surrendering to something larger.
Vivekananda believed that true freedom
comes from recognizing that we're not the doers,
but instruments of a higher will.
Channels for something greater to flow through. It's a humbling thought.
It is.
Letting go of the reins.
And trusting that we're being guided.
Supported and directed.
By something beyond our understanding.
It's like surrendering to the flow of life.
It's a beautiful paradox.
How so?
We often think of surrender as weakness.
But it can actually be a strength.
It's the courage to let go of control.
And to trust in something bigger than ourselves. And we talked earlier about how Vivekananda championed the idea that householders could live a spiritual life.
But he also had some pretty radical ideas about women.
Oh yeah, he was way ahead of his time.
He was a true advocate for women's empowerment.
Which was pretty revolutionary back then.
He believed that women were essential for the spiritual progress of humanity.
He saw them as having a unique and vital contribution.
He wasn't just talking about equality.
He actively championed the education of women.
And believed they should have the same rights and opportunities as men.
He saw the divine feminine
as this incredible force for good.
A source of strength, wisdom, and compassion.
That's often overlooked or undervalued.
A society that suppresses women.
Is cutting itself off from a vital source of energy.
And creativity.
It's not just about social justice.
It's about the spiritual evolution of humanity.
True progress requires a balance.
Of masculine and feminine energies.
It's a harmonious integration of these seemingly opposite forces.
Okay, so we've covered so much ground in this deep dive.
We have.
Hardship knowledge, forging our own paths.
The duties of householders.
Selfless service, karma samskaras.
Working as a master, true happiness.
The power of words, the role of a guru.
Worshipping God and man.
Raja, yoga prana, spirituality and science.
The ego, the role of women, the illusion of Maya.
It's been an incredible journey. What stands out to you as the most powerful takeaway?
The idea that true freedom comes from recognizing our unity
with the divine and with all beings,
transcending the limitations of the ego,
living from a place of love, compassion, and interconnectedness. Beautifully said.
It's about breaking down those walls of separation.
If the whole universe is
That's
one,
the Vivekananda suggests.
How do we live our lives differently?
How do we bring that understanding into our daily interaction?
Our choices, our relationships.
That's the question we should all be asking ourselves.
It's been amazing exploring the wisdom of Swami Vivekananda.
I've learned so much.
A renewed sense of possibility.
And a deeper understanding of our own potential.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.
That's a wrap for today's episode of Better Every Day. We hope you found some actionable insights to help you on your self-improvement journey. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on future deep dives. And if you're on YouTube, hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, small steps every day lead to big changes. See you next time.